How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Digital World Acquisition Corp, aka Trump stock, which ended up having a monstrous day inside of the market. If you guys checked out my previous video, I was saying this stock did a great job holding down support between $48 and $50. So if you decided to take a position when it had that pullback going to like around 51 or even in the low 50s, you should be green right now, especially if you are trading it. If you are going to be investing in it, of course there's more opportunities because we are getting closer to that day in February. I'll talk about it further inside of this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be getting into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Digital World Acquisition Corp. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $63.80, being up 14.11%. On the low, it tested $55.03, and then on the high, testing $66.19. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 15.628 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days, it was at 4.778 million shares. So we had more than tripled. So when you see that right away in DWAC, you're going to see strong price action like you saw today. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 63.32. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we have strength above the 21-day EMA and as well as the 50-day. So like I was saying in the previous video, remember, we were looking for DWAC actually to make that move and get comfortable in the $60 range. But I did say if it did pull back, we do have a solid area of support right around the $50 area. So if you were taking a position, you'd be up very well, and you ended up seeing a high of the day at $66.19. So going into tomorrow, the most bullish position that you'd want to see is that move going to $70. Yes, this will be a psychological area, but if we break past it, then we could easily start making some moves and going into the $75 range and even close to $80. If we decide to consolidate or we have a pullback, I would love to see DWAC hold support here right at $60.19. So if it could hold this area down, let's say if it has a pullback going into tomorrow and then we have buying pressure coming in, this is where I'm going to look forward to seeing us make that push and passing the high that we actually had for today. But for the most part, things still continue to look good, and knowing that the catalyst is not going to be coming until February, there's a lot of anticipation and you want to make sure you time your entries correctly. Hope you guys found this helpful. Let's get to the next portion of the video, which is the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for Digital World Acquisition Corp. So for the dark pool short volume ratio, it is at 55.25%, and then for the dark pool short volume, it is just over 2.5 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 13 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, currently it is not available. Now, when we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 7th, it is at 55.66, and then for the close of the 10th, which was yesterday, it was at 55.25. So what this tells us right away, DWAC does have short squeeze potential. So that is why if we have a lot of buying volume coming into the stock, we could see strong moves to the upside. So now let's move into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution distribution for Digital World Acquisition Corp. I should just call it DWAC. So on the inflow, we had 221. Then on the outflow, we had 219. When we take a look at the breakdown even further, on the large, it was 2.03. On the medium, it was 172. And then on the small, it was 47.17. When we take a look at the outflow side, it was 1.75 on the large. On the medium, it was 172. And then on the small, it was at 44.48. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we could see for today, January the 11th, it was at 280.45. And we also did see an inflow on the 10th being at 1,876.43. Now, when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, it was equal 172 versus 172, so 172 million. And then when we take a look at what happened on the large, which potentially could represent institutions, we had more buying than we had selling. And now when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 42.19%. This is no surprise. We know this stock is heavily liquid. There's a lot of traders that are going in and out of this play. So this is why I always emphasize you want to have a game plan before you jump into it. So if you were paying attention to the technicals that I was talking about in the previous video, you should be sitting happy right now. And there's still a lot more upside, and I'm going to be talking about that in the final thoughts. So let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for DWAC, aka Trump stock, the price action has been looking really good and it has been remaining consistent. I was saying if you were thinking about getting into a position, it was consolidating for quite some time between the $48 level and the $50 level. So if you were able to get into that entry at 50, it did go to 51. Keep in mind, we did have a volatile market. You'd be able to ride this uptrend currently. But one thing that we have to pay attention to, I think it's far from over. So if we end up having a pullback going into tomorrow, I want to see the stock continue to hold up the $60 level. If it could hold up the $60 level and there's a lot of volume coming into the play, that was the problem before. We didn't have a lot of volume. Now that that volume is picking up, this is why I'm saying you want to see it hit the $70 level. If it can get to $70, yes, there will be a little bit resistance there, but if we can break past it, we're talking about 75 and as well as 80. And like I said, the closer we get to that date of February 21st, things get even more interesting. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, DWAC does have short squeeze potential. So this is why I was saying, if you have buying volume coming into the stock, you could see some strong moves to the upside, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. So if you are going to be trading it, pay attention to support, pay attention to resistance, know those key levels so you can take advantage and make some quick profits. As far as for an investment, you want to be very careful. But again, you already know what the strong support area is, so you should be fine with that. But just make sure that you have an entry strategy and as well as an exit strategy and how long you want to be inside of the play. Is it going to be a buy the rumor or sell the news, or you're going to hold no matter what? This is something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. And we also have to take into consideration the market conditions. Tech showed a lot of strength. We had a great recovery overall. But one thing that I want to make sure that you're clear about is paying attention to other factors outside of the stock itself. This is very essential if you want to see success inside of the market. And when you have Jerome Powell putting out positive information like he did today, then you see why, whoa, a lot of stocks are moving in the direction I wanted it to go, especially if you are bullish. So let's see how DWAC performs for the rest of the week, but I'm going to assume that it should be looking bullish, especially if the demand continues inside of the stock. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.